Hey everybody, my name is Joe.
I am also Joe.
Welcome back to SNES's Life recap number 11. This is the first full recap into the next set of 50 games. So exciting is that? Very
A
exciting.
lot of games.
A lot of games. 100 and, or not 100, 55 games. 55 games in. Shut up. So tonight we're recapping the last 5 games we played. We got Ys 3, The Wanderers of Ys, The Rocketeer, Super Soccer, Arcana, and Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2. First up, Ys 3, The Wanderers of Ys. So, what'd you think of this game? You were primarily the one that played this, so let's do it. Graphics, sound, gameplay, overall.
Graphics, I think, and looking at how it's playing, it doesn't look bad. It gives me a Ghouls and Ghosty feeling.
Yeah, I can see that.
I definitely enjoyed the graphics. I think it had a certain charm to it.
Okay, yeah, I can go with that.
Sound, I really enjoyed, actually. It had
sound was good.
A pretty good soundtrack. Other than that, not much other than just swinging your sword.
I agree.
I guess this is more of a gameplay thing, but the text boxes, I'm on. I didn't like that you couldn't skip the dialogue.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then, I guess still in graphics, the cutscenes it did.
The cutscenes were really well done in it.
Actually, I guess if you want to call them animated cutscenes.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't like crazy, but yeah.
Right. But it was more than we've ever seen.
For sure.
So that was cool. Gameplay. You have to grind a lot. And
a lot.
What we did is we just put a C clamp on the 2 buttons of up and the attack button, which is X. And I found a spot where enemies continuously spawn, and we just farmed levels.
Yeah. We clamped the controller down, sat it down for 8 hours, basically, while we went to bed.
At which point, going back to it, we were ridiculously powerful.
Which is hilarious, because that's what you're watching right here is basically the next day after that, where we smoked through that first boss. But the problem with the gameplay is I agree with Joey on everything about the graphics and the sound. Really?
Keep going.
He's messing with an ice pack on his arm. The gameplay is where it fell apart for me. The fact that you're forced to grind that much. Because when you got towards the end of the game, it was still killing you really fast.
Well, because it was catching up to your level.
Yes, but I'm like, you literally basically grinded for 8 hours.
And we still didn't hit max level.
8 hours.
We hit max level in the middle of our second play.
I mean, that's insanity. You grind for 8 hours to get to max level.
Although we weren't exactly using a
optimum. Well,
we were using the only spot that it does that.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But it wasn't a creature that gives you a ton of XP.
In the end, that's the deal breaker for me. So I gave Wanderers of Ys a thumbs down, and I
gave it a thumbs up because I actually enjoyed playing the game.
I do like it as
we did complete it, right?
You did finish it. We spent. Instead of playing an extra hour of something else that Saturday night, you finished it.
I think if I had to spend the time grinding out those levels, I would have probably given it a thumbs down. But
I bet. Since,
we could just clamp it, not that big of a deal to me.
Jed clamp it. A reference you don't get. Yeah, so I thumbed down it. I do like that it was an action RPG instead of a JRPG where... You're like turn-based. But anyway.
Turn-based games are interesting.
Next up was a movie night. We played The Rocketeer. So The Rocketeer was based off of a graphic novel set of comics.
Which had a movie adaptation.
And the movie was pretty solid.
I enjoyed the movie. And it's a Disney movie.
The movie was good.
Like old Disney.
Like it wasn't great, but it was good. It was a nice romp.
It entertained me.
Yes, it was an entertaining movie, which is all you need from a movie.
Probably more of a kid's movie, but even still, I got a lot of enjoyment out of that movie.
Right.
So, and I had such high hopes for the game.
So here's the problem. The Rocketeer had a lot of really neat concepts that it tried to jam into one package, and because of that, it did none of those concepts well.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Absolutely.
Sort of deal.
So the graphics, generally, you can see here, don't look that bad until you get to this, and this is kind of crap.
Well, even then, it's not bad until you start moving around.
Yeah.
You just kind of like waddle.
So the graphics overall in the game weren't amazing. They were, I'm not even going to say they were good. They were mediocre. They weren't so bad as to make, they weren't Draken bad.
Well, and like this isn't bad at all. It's just,
it's not great.
Right.
But there's definitely shading and a lot of work done to make your backgrounds and art. The very first part you guys saw, which was the airplane race, that's graphically well done. The sound for the game is okay. It's not exceptional. There's not a lot of sound to it, frankly. You get an airplane engine. Here you get gunshots. There is music, but I don't remember any of it as being good enough for me to remember. This game really falls apart in the gameplay category. So that air race at the beginning, you see your airplane flying around the top screen.
And it looks really good from up there.
And it does. But your control box is the little thing at the bottom. And if you're not paying attention to that, you're not going to win the race.
You will run into all of the pylons.
This right here you just saw was a shooting gallery. And that was impossible. It wasn't impossible.
Was difficult.
It's very difficult. That would have benefited from the Super Nintendo mouse. But trying to do it with a control pad sucks. Any kind of shooting gallery game with a control pad is hot garbage. The other levels in this game... and that's the other thing. You have to do the air race 3 times. Then you have to do the shooting gallery 3 times or 2 times. Then you do another air race. Except you're wearing the rocket pack, I think.
So you smoke everyone.
Right. Then you've got... it's kind of a shmup, actually. Yep. Except you're not shooting. No, you do shoot, don't you?
Yeah, you go into a shmup where you're flying through the sky shooting dudes.
In a jetpack, and there's all these Nazi
planes. And then it
planes.
goes into another level where it's still a shmup, but you're in a plane this time.
Oh, yeah.
And then it goes into a weird fighting platformer.
Yeah, it is so bad. The shmup levels are insanely difficult.
The shmup levels are really difficult, but there is a level skip, so we were able to get to the last level.
To see it.
The last level's not good.
Yeah, it was kind of a joke, really. So you just have to punch a Nazi, basically, until he falls, and then you walk 5 feet, and another Nazi jumps out, and you punch him until he falls, and you walk 5, and it does that a couple times, so you get to a ladder, and then you climb up to the top of the blimp, and then you fight the big Nazi, and then eventually the blimp blows up, and you get saved by Howard Hughes. It's really interesting to see the game just because of the mashing of genres.
I feel like it was a decent idea, and I feel like trying to do that was cool, but
they
executed terribly.
Yeah. It was poor execution on the part of the game company. Rocketeer received a thumbs down from both of us.
Yep.
Next up, Super Soccer. Super Soccer, it is what it freaking sounds like. It's a soccer game. But it doesn't suffer. Now, you and Trey played World League Soccer.
Yep.
And your argument with that was...
It was a lot like Bill Lambier's Combat Basketball.
Okay, which was slow.
Except that was the only difference.
It was super fast.
Right.
But it was still really ridiculously difficult to control. And it was like a top-down view, right? Yes. So Super Soccer takes more of an isometric view. Ooh, there was some glitchy there. But it wasn't hyperspeed fast, but it also wasn't painfully slow.
Right.
And
when you have the ball, there's an urge of you to go faster, come on.
Yeah, it does feel slow.
That's probably more of, antsiness, come on, I don't want to get the ball taken from me, rather than it's actually just slow.
Because 90% of the time you do not keep the ball. It seems awful easy to catch the guy with the ball.
Is so difficult.
Of course it is. I will say, however, that any competitive game is generally pretty fun to play against another person. That's why we've enjoyed playing golf games. Because it's fun to play against each other.
Right.
And soccer was no different. The whole time we're like, oh, come on, get him, and just, it's fun to play with each other. Something that Super Soccer offered that we both really enjoyed was the fact that you could play co-op on a team together, which was neat. And that's where the computer just decimated
annihilates
us.
You.
Oh my God. And we were playing the good team versus the worst team, and it smoked us. So there's that. But, let's do the technical review. Graphically speaking, the game looks pretty good, I think. I like that the Nintendo and SimCity and Game Boy ads are in the background. That's kind of cool.
And I think it runs really smooth for how it looks.
There wasn't a lot of slowdown. It looked good. It played well. The sound was okay.
The
music was
controls were
good.
pretty good.
The controls were smooth.
The only thing I wish for is that you had the choice to switch between your characters, because when you're playing co-op, it'll randomly switch your dudes based on, whoever's closest to the ball, if your dude goes off screen.
Yeah, that was really the only argument with it for me, was how and when it chose to switch the player you controlled. Passing was a little difficult, but realistically,
I didn't have any issue passing.
I never could seem
You
to
constantly
pass it.
kicked the ball off the edge.
Oh my
of
god,
the
that's
field.
just me being a terrible player. But we both really enjoyed Super Soccer, so this game got a thumbs up on both of us. Good job, Super Soccer. Next up is Arcana. So this is a game that Joey played. Why don't you go ahead and take this one here?
Do I have to?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so Arcana is a turn-based RPG. It is an RPG. It's a dungeon crawling RPG.
It is an RPG. I don't
It
know.
keeps doing that. Anyway, the gimmick for this game was
Said it a couple times apparently.
everyone is cards.
You're the card master.
You are the card master. You have to believe in the heart of the cards. Anyway,
Oh god.
it's graphically speaking, it's not bad.
No, I think the graphics look pretty good. It's a tile-based system, kind of like Doom and Wolfenstein back in the day.
Which I don't have a problem with.
Yeah, that's fine.
It might be a little bit slower than I would like, but
And it's dated, obviously, but like, it's
so
not like the
graphically
pictures-
speaking, I think it's pretty good, and all of the card art's really good.
And
the actions
animated.
that they do when they attack is pretty cool.
dancing trees.
Graphically speaking, I think it's really good. Sound wise, I think it's also pretty decent.
Yeah,
It
it
had
was
some.
okay.
It's had some okay music. It wasn't great. by
Yeah,
any
it was
means,
okay. It was
but
enough to keep you entertained while you went. Yeah.
Gameplay is where it falls, as most games seem to. You have to grind.
This is another grindy game.
It is a game of long fighting mixed with high encounter rates, where if you skip even a couple of the encounters, you become severely underleveled very quickly. And we figured that out pretty quickly into the game when I was having issues beating a dude who you were obviously supposed to beat.
Yep.
And it came down to just chance that we beat him.
We did manage to beat him, and then we got to the third of 5 dungeons. The game's only 5 dungeons long. We got to the third dungeon.
So we got halfway through.
And we looked up a walkthrough.
And the dude was like...
He's like, I was level 24 by the
24.
time I got here, and we were like
we're
level 15
11.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, so we've clearly failed. I guess that depends on your point of view. We managed to get there. Of course, we got there through copious save stating, but still, the point stands. It's got that Final Fantasy thing, like every 3 steps, encounter. I
Not
turned
even
around,
every
encounter.
3, like every 2.
It was bad.
I got occasional spaces where I would walk really far. The game is too much RGN, I think. Sometimes your dude will hit multiple times, and the order gets all messed up. Sometimes it'll just completely skip a person.
Yeah,
there's too much RGN to it. And like I said, you have to fight like every encounter, and the encounters take so long because it's turn-based, and like the enemies you fight can range from one dude that you kill in one hit to like 7 dudes that take like 15 hits to kill.
And the problem with it being turn-based is, unlike Wanderers of East, you can't clamp down a button.
Right.
So
there is a strategy to it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that way. Otherwise, the game did pretty well on all the other marks.
I will say it was an interesting thing that if one of your cards dies that's not, Sylph or your other element, if it's a human,
you lose.
You lose.
Yeah, you can't lose your party in this game, unfortunately.
Which, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, yeah, but
yeah,
it's
I don't
just
know.
different.
It was a neat game, but yeah, two thumbs down.
Yep.
For Arcana. But finally, we get to the last game, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is a top-down strategy historical simulation game of ancient China. I played this game. I like Risk, and I like Axis and Allies, and I play Warhammer, and I love strategy games. Graphically speaking, this game isn't atrocious. It is mostly menus and an overworld map. It's a very thick, dense game. It's got a lot, kind of like Civilization to it. You're managing your generals, you're managing your cities, you're managing your population, trying to please them, keep them loyal to you. You run out of food and money, you have to tax people, you have to search for generals, you can bribe the enemy generals. But the eventual goal here is basically world domination of your map, which is China.
Which takes forever.
Which God would take. Well, it won't take forever because there's a couple playthroughs, and I think the speedrun had it at like 2 hours.
That's still a long time.
I mean, that is still a long time. And we played it.
To be playing just that game.
We played it for an hour, and I think we got through like 6 or 7 turns. I cannot fathom the amount of turns it would take to finish this game. Sound was okay. The music was okay. The overworld map got a little grating after.
Yeah, the music was good. I think
hour.
it's just you spend so much time listening to the same song that it gets repetitive.
And the songs do change when you go to battle, but I mean that's when you go to battle. And battles take a really long time too because it's a grid-based system as your guys move around, and it just takes a hot minute to finish a battle. In the end, I do like a strategy game. I'm not particularly fond of a civilization building game. So I like tech trees and things, but this doesn't have a tech tree. It has the whole manage your populace and all that. It's a little too deep for me, for my enjoyment of it. Plus, it's obviously dated graphically. The sound kind of got on my nerves. I can see the merit in it, and I definitely know people that would love the game because they are huge Civ fans. But for me, it was no good, so I gave Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2 a thumbs down.
To me, I gave it a thumbs up because I personally really enjoy these kinds of games, and towards the end of it, I started, telling you what to do and
you
figuring
should do this,
it out.
You should do that, and you were right. So I mean,
So, I think I don't have the patience to play it for a prolonged period of time. So I would definitely probably use save states. Play it for a bit. Go away and then come back sometime later and continue it.
Sometime later, maybe a month later, you play again. Yeah, so 1 up, 1 down from us on Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it is definitely not a game I would recommend. So there is that.
I probably wouldn't recommend it, but I think that's what I said. I wouldn't recommend it because it's definitely not for everyone.
It's definitely a niche. Now, I will say, Civilization, there is a Civilization port on the Super Nintendo, and I have no idea how far down the ladder that is.
Oh,
but,
boy.
But if you're still at home when we get to that, you're playing that nonsense. So take that for what she is. But that is it for the recap of the 5 games. So 11th recap episode done and dusted. And the next recap, the next episode, is got like football, space football, Krusty's Funhouse, Jack Nicklaus Golf, and Super Battle Tank. So the next 5 are going to be kind of interesting. I mean, there's 3 sports games in there. Space football, MVP football, and Jack Nicklaus Golf. So, I mean, there's that. So prepare yourselves for sports games. We have yet to find a football game we enjoy. So,
We've only played 1 football game, but...
No, I thought we played 2.
I think
we may have only played 1. John Madden, I know we played Madden, and we didn't particularly care for it.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. But that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for jumping in on our 11th recap episode. Have a good night.
See you guys.